Hi guys, welcome to the channel. Today I'm here to tell you do not quit your day job. Today I want to talk about something that's really realistic, and I think that should be really pointed out for especially Psytrance producers, which is to be able to financially stable while you're producing. Psytrance is one of those genres where we don't have too much mainstream exposure, and even though as producers we put out so many songs out there and we're getting many gigs all around, we probably won't make enough money to get by in our lives. We will probably need some other sources of income in order to be able to kind of chase our dreams. So this situation might be slightly different depending on where you live, or depending on how much rent you're paying, or depending on your relationship status, your marriage status, of course. But as long as we're talking about producing Psytrance and trying to make money off of it, it'll pretty much apply to every Psytrance producer around the world. I think the first point I want to talk about is tying back to Psytrance not being a mainstream genre. I know some DJs that are actually producing, really good music, and they're selling on their labels and stuff, but they're still actually getting their living money from the gigs that they're getting. And if you don't have, gigs back to back just happening all the time, chances are you're not going to be able to make enough money to just live off of, your gigs or your production. And I believe that's a good mindset to have, where you kind of think that, hey, I won't be able to make it through just with my gigs. So on one side of your brain, there should always be a thought of, I should have a job just so, I can pay my next month's rent. I can pay my next month's electricity bill. And I feel like having that financial stability is actually going to help you more in getting maybe more gigs, producing more, because the more stressed out you become about, financial situations, it's just gonna get a lot harder to be creative and actually go back into the studio and just keep producing your songs. So being realistic and keeping in mind that Psytrance is not a mainstream genre is just a really good point to start for us to set our mindset when we're producing Psytrance. The second thing I want to talk about is the financials within the music industry. Now, there are a lot of ways nowadays a producer can make money. I mentioned gigs are one way to go for it, but not so much so selling your music. It used to be in the past, I was told that you would actually get paid to produce an album beforehand, but now it's more like you're making a song beforehand and then you're trying to push and make sales for that song or for that specific album that you produced. So it comes down to the point where you used to get money to spend time on your production, but right now you're spending the time up front without even knowing if you're going to be able to get the money, without knowing if you're going to be able to actually collect that energy's worth of money with your song sales or your album sales. That's one side of the coin. The other side is getting some money from streaming platforms such as Spotify, Apple Music, maybe even YouTube, Tidal, Deezer. All kinds of these streaming platforms, they pay you money by the amount of times your songs get streamed on their platform by other listeners. But the point is that the amount of money these platforms are paying artists per each stream is such a ridiculous amount that if you want to actually get some good money out of your streams, you would have to get that one specific song streamed for like 1 million times. That's hell a lot of exposure for such producers like us, Psytrance producers. And it is not an easy point to get to. We kind of have to, think about our end game here, knowing that even though we put our songs on Spotify, any other streaming platform, and we're expecting to make money out of it, it probably is not going to happen. So again, having that either full-time job or part-time job where you can kind of, get constant money coming into the bank and not worry about, having to pay your rent or having to pay your bills, is going to help you in that sense and keep you sane. The last thing I want to talk about in this topic is actually relating to producers that live in the United States. Now, I come from a country where my government or my state is actually helping the people in terms of, healthcare, unemployment benefits, and all that kinds of stuff. So if you know, don't have a job and you you're kind of lingering in between jobs, you might still get some sort of a help either from your family members or from your government. Meanwhile, in the US, you know, there's such a system, capitalism, and it kind of relies on the survival of the fittest mentality. So if you know, lose one side of the rope, chances are you're going to lose the entire thing and you get it taken away from you. And it's really hard to then climb back up on the ladder. So it's such a system that, you know, even if you make one mistake, chances are that mistake is going to stick to you at all times. The bottom point is that, you know, the system in the US, I don't feel like it's actually letting you, you know, go chase your dreams. There's such a thing that's called American dream, but the reality is that in order to be able to chase that American dream, you need to have the capital, which means you need to have that money initially, and then you can use that capital in order to go, you know, pursue your business or pursue your dream. Other than that, if you're coming from like a, you know, middle class or like a lower class family, you kind of have to face the, you know, fact that you have to be able to provide and you have to be able to get the money in the bank in a consistent basis, so you're able to, you know, pay your bills and kind of your money situation doesn't dictate your life, and you're able to actually keep everything kind of in balance, meanwhile trying to chase your dreams. Again, this argument is total subjective, and I feel like it more applies to the citizens of, you know, like middle class or lower class, but I'm pretty sure other people around the world can probably relate with this argument, especially when they consider the socioeconomic class that they live in. So all in all, the bottom point is, yeah, go chase your dream, but be realistic about it. And always keep in mind that you're gonna have to pay bills at some point, and it's not gonna happen just by itself, and it's not going to happen just by producing Psytrance music. So I believe that having that, you know, a part-time or full-time job where you can get some sort of, you know, financial relief into your bank account will help us actually keep sane, and probably will help us be more creative for our future projects, and hopefully one day we will get there. Until then, I'll see you next time. Bye.